Steve, let's catch folks up on the pirate swimming season since our last conversation. The Whitworth team went to Florida for a Christmas training trip. Came back. First meet was a dual meet against NCAA Division I Seattle University.
Yeah.
And then this past weekend, a couple of really important dual meets against POU and Puget Sound. Let's jump back to that Christmas training trip. How did that time in Florida set up this team for the rest of the season?
It's a key time in Florida, really. It sets up the whole back half of our season and probably any college swim team's season. We finished final exams, that second week in December. Everybody went home for the holiday to see their families and for a little break. And then, training camp in Florida. And that's so key because you have people that are at home with their club teams and, some are swimming a lot, some are swimming a little. Everyone's on a different page. So that training camp's important, one, to get people fit and ready for the back half of the season, but also just to get everybody back on the same page, training consistently, doing well. And I think our success through the last couple of weeks has really been attributed to what happened in training camp. And there was a lot of yards swum and miles logged, a lot of intensity and fast swimming. And it was very trying and they were tired, but that time of focus where they really had to wear themselves down, set themselves up for now, where they're getting sharper and they're getting more rested and they're starting to swim fast. But the foundation and the work was all laid at Christmas training camp, really.
You go and your first dual meet back is against Seattle University. We don't win a lot of events at a meet like that, but what is it that we try to accomplish when we're swimming against those kinds of folks?
My philosophy is we need to race folks faster than us so that we can get the best out of ourselves. I think it's really important once we get to NCAAs and national level competition that we've been tested like that, where we swim against folks that are quicker. That way we don't have the deer in headlights thing where we're not able to perform because we're doing something we haven't done before or it's unexpected. When we get to NCAAs and even conference championships, I want them to feel like they've swum folks that are faster, slower, in between, where there isn't anything they haven't seen to that point, so they can just get up and do what they normally do.
Coming out of a weekend where the men won twice against PLU and UPS, the women lost twice, but they were both competitive meets. What were the highlights that you saw this weekend?
Well, I'd say with my women's team, the highlight for me was the way they finished races. I mean, we had people that were crawling from way back from 5th or 6th to, second by the end of their race, and a lot of that was in the last 15 meters of the race. My women showed, I think, a lot of resilience and tenacity. That women's group has no give up at all. They work hard all the time, and they're not intimidated. They're going to race anybody, which is fun to watch. So I was really happy about that. The fact that my women raced so tough. It's a small group of women. There's 14 of them. When we were going against two squads that were much larger, 23, 24 women, and you wouldn't have known it to watch the meet. I mean, they got up, swam multiple races without much rest, got up, did it again, and took it to the wire both times against teams that are projected to finish at the very top of our conference. So I think that bodes really well for them. On the men's side, they were pretty dominant, and what I was happy with there was, even though we were winning and winning big, I didn't see them let off the gas pedal. They raced hard all the way through the meet, and that's really important too, because you can't get complacent, especially this time of year. Once you're getting into conference championships, things like that, you want it to be your best performances, and I felt like both teams did that. So
coming up, we have a dual meet against Whitman, which is always a fun event, and then heading toward the conference championships. What is it that you hope the Whitman meet is a springboard for as we go into the championship phase of the season?
The Whitman is a great meet every year. Usually some of our fastest swims of the year, other than when we're shaved and tapered, come out of Whitman. And so I'm hoping for that again. For my men, we have aspirations of getting people to nationals and NCAAs. And so, I'm hoping to see some guys get close to B cuts. I'm really, hoping to see those relays kind of step up and come together. And You know, we're working on last second details at this point, making sure our turns are really good, that our finishes are good, that the race strategy stuff is pretty well laid down at this point. So it's just detail work at this point.